You've probably never heard of Michael Turner. He wasn't famous, he wasn't rich, he was a janitor at a small town high school. But in November of 2013, Michael vanished without a trace. And what seemed like a simple missing persons case turned into a quiet tragedy that revealed a chilling truth. This is the story of a man who cleaned up after others until someone tried to clean up after him. Michael was 54 years old. He worked nights at Willow Creek High, a school nestled in a sleepy town of just under 10,000 residents. Everyone knew him as Mr. Mike. Polite, soft-spoken, dependable, the kind of person who didn't demand attention, just quietly showed up, did his work, and went home. His routine was clockwork. Every evening at 4 p.m., he'd walk in through the back entrance, thermos in one hand, old cassette player in the other. Every night, sometime past midnight, he'd leave, locking the doors behind him with keys he kept on a retractable chain. He listened to classic rock, mostly Springsteen and Fleetwood Mac, while he swept the same halls, scrubbed the same cafeteria tables, and greeted the handful of late-night teachers still typing lesson plans or grading papers. He didn't complain, he didn't gossip, but he noticed everything. And then, on the cold morning of November 18th, everything changed. Michael's beat-up Toyota Corolla was still in the school parking lot. Lights off, doors locked, but there was no sign of him. At first, no one panicked. His supervisor, Mr. Delgado, assumed maybe Michael got picked up by a friend. Maybe he was sick, maybe just tired and went home without clocking out. But by the following evening, the concern grew. Michael still hadn't called, he wasn't answering his phone, and when a teacher tried to reach him through his emergency contact, there was no one listed. By day 3, the police were called. They searched the school top to bottom. Classrooms, lockers, boiler room, storage closets, everything seemed in place. No broken windows, no signs of forced entry, no blood, just his mop bucket sitting alone in the east hallway, like he had been interrupted mid-shift or never finished at all. Security footage was reviewed. It showed Michael walking in at 3:58 p.m., just like always. But there was nothing after that. No footage of him leaving. No signs of struggle, no shadow moving down the halls. It was like he had disappeared into thin air. Flyers went up, search parties organized, local news ran a segment, but Michael had no immediate family to pressure the police. No social media to track, no trail to follow. His one-bedroom apartment was untouched, mail stacked on the kitchen counter. TV off, bed made, nothing missing except the man himself. Inside his locker at the school, investigators found his wallet, his wristwatch, his house keys, and one unexpected thing: a note, handwritten, just one line. Sometimes the mess is too big to clean up. 6 quiet weeks passed. Then came Tina Morales. She was the new janitor hired to replace Michael. Single mom, hardworking. She didn't like the eerie silence of the empty school at night, but she needed the job. One night, while organizing a cluttered supply closet near the science wing, she noticed a panel on the wall that seemed off. It wasn't flush like the others. When she pushed, it creaked open slightly. Behind it, a narrow crawl space. Dusty, forgotten, just large enough for someone to hide or be hidden. Inside, Tina found a rolled-up school banner, dusty and creased, a pair of janitor coveralls, and a crumpled rag, stained with what looked like dried blood. Tests confirmed the worst. The blood was Michael Turner's. Suddenly, this wasn't just a disappearance. This was a possible crime scene, maybe even a cover-up. Detectives reopened the case. They re-interviewed staff And one name came up again and again: Alan Griggs. He was the assistant maintenance manager, a man in his late 40s, greasy hair, a temper, and a criminal record, nonviolent offenses mostly, breaking and entering, petty theft, possession of stolen property. Nothing that screamed killer, but just enough to make you uneasy. Teachers recalled heated arguments between him and Michael. One student claimed Michael had once threatened to report Alan for stealing tools and reselling them. Another swore she saw Alan leaving the school around 1 a.m., long after his shift had ended. When questioned, Alan denied everything, said he barely talked to Michael, said he went home early the night he disappeared. But evidence told a different story. Phone records placed Alan near the school at 1 a.m. A figure was seen on grainy footage slipping out the back exit at 1:13 a.m., wearing janitor coveralls, face obscured. Investigators enhanced the video. The person's build and gait matched Alan's. A partial boot print in the crawl space matched the sole of Alan's work boots. With mounting evidence, police brought Alan in again. At first, he stayed silent. Then he broke. Alan confessed. Michael had caught him red-handed, stealing old school laptops from a locked cabinet. When Michael confronted him, a shouting match ensued. Alan claimed Michael tried to grab him. He shoved back. Michael slipped, cracked his head on the edge of the mop sink. Blood, panic, silence. Didn't call 911, didn't even try to get help. Instead, he cleaned the scene, hid the body in the crawl space, stashed the bloodied rag and extra coveralls, and wrote the note to make it look like Michael had walked away from it all. He thought he'd gotten away with it, but Michael's absence spoke louder than any note, because Michael never left things undone. Michael Turner's body was found 3 months later, sealed behind a false wall near the boiler room. The coroner confirmed blunt force trauma. Time of death aligned with Alan's confession. Alan Griggs was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, evidence tampering, obstruction of justice. He was convicted and sentenced to 27 years in prison.